How about this for a great election slogan? Vote Tory and work till you're 75. Hi, welcome to the Old Geezer's Diary. I'm Chris. It's the 21st of August. If the latest Tory suggestions and proposals about retirement age come true, in 2036, people will be retiring at the age of 75 years old. That's when they'll get the retirement pension. My God, that's a long time, isn't it? 75 when you retire. It means that if you were born in 1961 and are 58 years old now, you've got another 16 or 17 years of work laying ahead of you. Under the conditions that apply at the moment, you should only have 10 years of work ahead of you because you should retire when you're 68. But if you're 58 now and the latest proposals from the Tories get enacted into law, you will not retire until you're 75. Do you know what? I think that's really awful. The reason I think it's really awful is not really about the age just itself. It's about all the other factors. One of the things that gets to me about this one, from the Tory point of view, is that the Tories obviously stand for people who've got money. So the owners and shareholders and directors and senior managers of many, many big companies earn a lot of money, and by adjusting their incomes and their pension deals, they'll be able to retire at 60 or 65 or maybe 55, as they do now. But ordinary working people will be the ones who are really forced to continue working until they're 75 years old. It's worth remembering that a huge number of people, a huge proportion of people in absolute terms, die before they're 75 anyway, so they won't have to be paid any pension anyway. It's also worth remembering that for many people, by the time they get into their 70s, they can become quite ill, and a long-term terminal illness can actually take their lives away at various points, but it does mean they won't be able to work, and therefore they will need social care. And social care under the Conservatives is currently declining at a rate of knots. As an older person myself, I'm 73 now. If I was a few years along the line, I'd still have another 2 years of full-time work to look ahead at. And to be honest with you, I think that's an awful prospect. I currently do work, and I do work that I enjoy, but most people don't get a huge lot from their work. They actually go to work to earn the money to live on. That's what it's all about. And actually extending our years of work by effectively 7 or 8 years when we come to 2036 just means that people are going to get much less out of their retirements. If life expectancy remains as it is now, someone retiring at 75 in 2036, most men will probably have 5 years of life left to them, most women probably 7 or 8. But of course, the other interesting issue with the way things are going is that in the last couple of years, life expectancy has gone down. So in fact, if that trend continues, which it looks likely to do with cutbacks in the National Health Service and cutbacks in social care, let me get this right. People who survive to 75 in 2036 will probably have less life left to them than people of that age do now, because the NHS is probably going to take less and less care of the aged under a Conservative government, and social care will also decline considerably under a Tory government. Let me get it right, and let me not put you in any kind of illusion. I'm not a Labour voter, and I never have been. I've always voted Tory, but this step, putting up retirement age to 75 and making all the related cuts in social care and in healthcare for older people, is certainly completely against everything I believe in. I don't know whether Labour are any better, but from my point of view, I'm going to stop voting Conservative immediately. And in future elections, I think I'll probably be voting Lib Dem, because at least they seem to take a sensible attitude on most things. I find the Tories in full chase, like Ian Duncan Smith is now, terrifying, because if I were a big factory owner, if I was a member of a board of directors, if I was a senior executive in a big company, I would have plenty of income, so I wouldn't have to worry too much about saving for my retirement, and I could plan my retirement to be where I wanted it and when I wanted it to be. But as an ordinary working person who's going to be relying on at least some proportion of my income coming from the state, then I should be despairing. Working till 75, dying at 80, what kind of retirement is that? If I was a Tory bigwig or a major business player, then I could say, well, I've got enough in my retirement pot now. I earn about 20 or 30 or 50 or 100 times more than the ordinary working people on the shop floor. I can retire when I like. But for me as a working person, I've got to keep going until I'm 75, despite all the illnesses, despite all the problems that come to us with older age. What do I believe? I believe that voting for the Conservatives now that they've said this and revealed their hand for the future, should be the last thing any ordinary working person considers. I think they're out to do us down, guys, and that's my honest opinion. I'm Chris. This is the Old Geezer's Diary, where I try to tell you what I believe to be the truth. And it's the things that we believe and that probably you believe but may not want to say that appear on this channel. If you want to get in touch with me, I'd love to hear from you. If you want to find me online, all you have to do is search for Old Geezer's Diary and you'll find me. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, and I'm also, of course, on Instagram and YouTube. I'll see you soon.